actually going to get started right on our backs. So if you have two blocks, we're going to get started in Supta Padasana. So that's the soles of the feet come together. The blocks can come right underneath your knees. And if you don't have blocks, you can just come into regular Supta Padasana, or maybe even like make a little fist with your hands, and you can put it under your hips, just for something a little bit more restorative. And you can place one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. You can close your eyes. We'll just take a moment here to arrive. And so you can start to notice your breath, noticing the belly rise on your inhale and then go back down on the exhale. And so I mentioned in my email this morning that today, because it's so hot out for most of us, we're just going to take a little bit slower approach. So in Ayurveda, we learn that like contributes to more like, and then opposites balance. So when it's really hot out, we want to do more cooling practices, and we probably want to eat more cooling foods. And I know that if you're like me, sometimes you really want the power practice, and it's a kind of our will against everything else or against nature. But that's not always the best for long-term health. So, we want to work with our environment, with how we're feeling, with the situation. So today we'll take it a little bit slower, but, we'll still be moving. We'll still probably be building a little bit of heat. But because of the weather, as we kind of just talked about, we are going to roll with it, and we will adjust our practice. So we're going to come into a brief breathing practice, pranayama, so samavriti. So with your hand on your belly, we're going to take an inhale for the count of 4. We'll pause at the top and then exhale for the count of 4, pausing at the bottom. Now, if the 4 count is too much for you, you can go a little bit lower, but just try to even out the inhale and the exhale, and then just noticing the pause in between. So together we'll inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, and then exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can take some more now at your own count. Just matching the inhale with the exhale and drawing it out as long as comfortable. Not too much where you feel like you're gasping. But when we slow down our breath, we also increase some level of calmness and stability. It's a way that we can tell our nervous system that everything is okay. And then the next time you exhale, you can just start to breathe normally again. And then if you have blocks, you can move them aside. So just coming into your regular Supta Padasana. And together we'll take an inhale, and then on an exhale, we'll slowly bring our knees together. So coming into some butterfly flaps. Inhale, we'll open our knees, coming back into our Supta Padasana. And then exhale, just bringing the knees together. So sort of just like we were doing with our samavriti breathing, our equal parts breath, we're going to do it now, but just add a little bit of motion to it. You might notice the slower you go, the more your legs start to tremble. And That's okay, we're just probably activating some muscles that we don't always get to use. Just taking it at your own pace, matching breath to movement. Inhaling to open, exhaling to close. I'm going to do about 3 more. And the next time your knees are up facing the sky, you can leave them there. And maybe just position your feet so they're about hips width apart. And you can see if you can graze your ankles with your fingertips. So we're going to come into some dynamic bridges. So you can have the backs of your arms on the earth. On an inhale, you can lift the hips high. Exhale, coming back down. Again, matching breath to movement. Inhale, lifting the hips. And then exhale, coming back down. When we match the breath with the body, it just gives us a way of coming back into the body. So getting out of the mind and just remembering what our body feels like. Because the more we can tap into our body, often the more we can connect with our inner wisdom. We can sense our intuition. And we can be in the present moment. Next time your hips are lifted, you can leave them there. You can bring your hips down and to the right. And then coming back down to the left. So almost just like a pendulum swinging. So often in our yoga practice, we're really going more on the vertical axis, but we're going a little bit on the horizontal now. Just swinging the hips back and forth. So imagining just like a pendulum swinging. Keep saying swimming. Maybe that's what I think we should be doing. And you can come back to center, rest the hips back onto the earth, extend the legs long, arms can reach behind you, extending long. And then we're going to come into a pose. I don't really know the name of it. I know that my teacher calls it banana asana. So basically you're going to take your ankles, bring them to the right, and then the hips still going towards the left. Bring your upper body to the right, so hands will come to the right. So you're almost making the shape of a banana. So you should feel a nice stretch along the left side of the body. And maybe you press the feet into the earth a little bit. I'm breathing here. And then coming back through center, we'll take it on the other side. So this time feet can go to the left, and so won't the arms and the upper body. So just imagining that you are a banana. And breathing. It's probably something you haven't actually imagined before. And so I'm glad we are all coming into this with an open mind. And then coming back through center. You can give your knees a hug in, maybe rock a little bit from side to side, massaging out the spine. And bringing hands behind thighs, you can start to rock up and down your mat. Maybe you take a couple of rocks. And come into a comfortable seated position. So you can just come into a basic cross-leg position. You guys don't have to move, but I'll move so you can see me. So bringing hands to heart center. Maybe you close your eyes here. You can take a moment to set an intention for your practice, or maybe you can dedicate your practice to somebody who is in need, who could use some good vibes, some positive energy. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Inhale, hands come high. And then on an exhale, take a side twist to the left. That right hand crosses along the left knee. Keeping the chin away from the chest, spine long. And coming back through center, bringing the hands through heart center. Inhale, hands come high. And then we'll take a side twist to the right. And then coming back through center. Let's meet in our tabletop. So shoulders over wrist, hands pressed firmly into the earth, hips over knees. We'll start to come into our cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, look up for your cow. And then exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. So really pressing the hands into the earth. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. And taking some more at your own pace. Again, body and breath working together. But of course, if there's any other movements or shapes that you would like to take right now that would feel good, you can take those too. And sometimes some nice, just big, wide hip circles can feel really nice. You really just think of flowing, so tuning into your body, seeing if there's any kinks or tightness, and taking any type of movement that would feel good. And it doesn't even have to be a yoga posture. Move the fingertips out to the side, or maybe facing the knees, stretching out the forearms. And we'll come back to neutral. Tabletop, so fingers pointing forward. You can extend the right leg back so it's parallel to the earth. Hips square to the earth. You can engage the core here. And take an inhale here, and then exhale, bringing knee to nose in that cat-like spine. Inhale, coming up. And then exhale, knee to nose. One more time, inhale, come up, and then exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, you can rise back up here for a moment. So steadying yourself here, you can just leave the leg lifted, engaging the core. If you want to come into a little bit of a back bind, with your left hand, you can grab your right ankle. So just coming in to that almost cow-like spine. Maybe you gaze at the wall ahead. Just taking it gentle. And then you can gently release your ankle. Come back into your tabletop. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. Coming back into neutral. This time, left leg extends out, hips square to the earth. And you can take an inhale here. Exhale, knee to nose. Coming back up, knee to nose, coming back up, knee to nose, and bringing the left leg back up, parallel to the earth, engaging the core here. You can stay here, or with that right hand, you can grab the left ankle. And coming into that cow-like spine, so this is a little bit of a back bend. And only do this if it feels okay. And then gently releasing the left foot. Coming back into your tabletop. We'll take one more cat-cow just to take any kinks out. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. And coming right back into neutral. Take a couple of big steps forwards with our hands. We'll start to bring our chest down towards the earth. You can rest your chin or your forehead on your mat. We come into our puppy pose. So the hips are still above the knees, so it's almost kind of like a cross between like a downward facing dog and a child's pose. But just resting here, you can imagine there's almost like a magnet between the earth and your chest. So just letting gravity pull you towards the earth. Maybe check back in with your breath. Maybe throughout this practice, you can check in with your breath and just practice that Samavriti breathing. Equal inhale and exhale through the nose. And keeping the forearms pressed to the earth, you can shimmy the hips back. We'll come into Sphinx. Shoulders over elbows, forearms pressing into the earth, and chest coming through shoulders. So this too is a back bend. And you can release down to the earth. You can make a little pillow with your hands, so just one hand on top of the other. And you can rest your forehead right on your pillow. We're just going to come into a couple of the belly back bend, so strengthening our back. So on an inhale, you lift the upper body and the lower body, but keeping the forehead connected to your hands. And remembering to breathe here. And then releasing back to the earth. And taking a moment to reset. So we're going to take 2 more, but if there's any other belly back bends that are calling to you right now, you can feel free to take those. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, coming back down. Resetting here. One more time. Inhale to rise. Remembering to breathe. And then coming right back down. And you can bend the knees here. Windshield wiper the feet back and forth. And then the legs can come out long. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders, elbows facing the sky. Shoelace side of the feet pressing into the earth. Inhale, coming up to cobra. So it could just be a mini cobra. Maybe the gaze still stays at the earth, but probably a couple feet in front of you. And then coming right back down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming back down. One more time. Inhale, coming up. We'll pause here for a moment. And then exhale, coming back down. And press yourself back up through tabletop. Open the knees wide. Then sitting back on the heels, coming into your child's pose. Remember, this posture is always available to you. So even if I don't call it out, whenever you need some grounding, or you just want to take a break, you can always come into child's pose. This is just such a great pose because there's so many parts of our body that are connected to the earth in this posture. And just reminding us that we are safe and we're supported. And rise back up through our tabletop. Curl the toes under. Lift the hips, and we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So hands pressed firmly into the earth, about shoulder width apart. Then you take a moment, glide forward into your high plank. And just make any adjustments, see where you land, but the wrist should be right underneath shoulders. That core is engaged, hips maybe around shoulder level. Take an inhale here. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. And that's about the width of your downward facing dog. You should be able to glide back and forward from high plank to downward facing dog without a ton of adjustment. Of course, I remember when I first learned that, my downward facing dog felt really wide. But you do get used to it. You're just using a little more muscles. So of course, if you have to shorten your stance, go for it. There's really no right or wrong. But you might just want to be encouraged just to try to hold it in the wider position for a little bit and see how it feels. And you can keep a little bit of a bend in your knees, so lengthening out the spine, and then breathing here. And go high on your tiptoes, bend the knees, really lengthen out the spine. Walk to your hands and we'll meet in ragdoll forward fold. So feet about hips width apart, opposite hand to opposite elbow. You can bend the knees here, creating a little shelf for your belly, and then let the head hang heavy. Really just stretching out the spine, the backs of the legs. Or the feet rooted into the earth, you can sway a little bit back and forth. You can release the hands to the earth. You toe heel the feet together. We'll start to roll up to standing, coming one vertebrae at a time. So rolling really slowly, kind of like you were a yoga zombie. And then coming all the way up. And coming into Tadasana, palms outstretched right in front. Inhale, hands come high. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. And interlace your hands right behind your head. So standing strong in your Tadasana, but with hands interlaced. So you can imagine laying on your flat back or just along the lazy river. And then inhale, with the feet rooting into the earth, you can take a look up at the skies, opening up the heart. And then just coming back to center. So keeping the hands behind your head, feet rooted into the earth. We'll take a side bend to the right, stretching out the left side of the body. And then coming back up, side bend to the left. Coming back up, uninterlace your hands, bringing the hands high. Take an inhale, exhale, hands come together, and we'll fold forward, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine, so bringing the shoulder blades back. So almost imagining that you could squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then keeping that long spine, you can plant the hands on the earth. Left foot steps back. Lower the left knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky for your low lunge. And breathing here. And the left hand can come to the earth. We'll take a twist to the right. Right hand can come back to the earth. Straighten up the front leg, half split. So inhale to lengthen. Exhale, just hinging at the hips. So maybe you don't go down that far. We're trying to keep the spine somewhat long. You can always bring your blocks if you want to bring the earth a little bit closer to you. Walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under, so coming into your runner's lunge on the right. And then right leg sweeps back, three-legged dog. So in that three-legged dog, you're feeling the line of energy from the palms of your hands to your back heel. So really stretching that leg as if you're trying to maybe touch the ceiling. Then you can bend the knee, open up the right hip, trying to keep the shoulders square to the earth. You can take some ankle rotations in one direction, and then again in the other. Squaring the hips back to the earth. Right foot comes down to meet the left, downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward, coming into your high plank. Holding here for a moment. Remember, you can always come down to your knees, to your supported plank. You're still building strength. And then we're going to come all the way down to the mat. But think about whether you want to come down on your knees or come down via a low push-up. But we'll maintain the integrity out of either way. So keep engaging the core and coming down slowly. Inhale, pushing up through cobra. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, pushing up through tabletop. Bringing the knees wide and sitting right back in child's pose. Inhale, rise up to tabletop. And curl the toes under, lift the hips, coming right back, downward facing dog. Right leg comes high, three-legged dog on the right. And right foot steps forward, runner's lunge. If you have the blocks, you can try to see how that feels, placing them to either side of your right foot. So knee is over ankle, and you're on the ball of your back foot. You can step the back foot up a bit and we'll come into our pyramid pose. The back foot is flat on the earth, maybe at about a 45-degree angle. Hips are squared, inhale to lengthen, exhale, hinging forward. And breathing here. And left foot can come to meet the right, forward fold. Root down to rise up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. And then exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, you can plant the hands, step the right foot back, soften the right knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky for your low lunge. Breathing here. Right hand can connect to the earth. We'll twist the left. And left hand can come back to the earth. Straighten out that front leg, half split. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hinging forward. And walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under, coming into your runner's lunge on the left. And then left leg sweeps back, three-legged dog. And breathing here. And you're trying to get that back leg as high as you can. Really think of lengthening. Unless you can't lengthen anymore, then you can bend the knee, opening up the hip to the left. Shoulders stay square to the earth. And take some ankle rotations in one direction. And then again in the other. Squaring the hips back to the earth. Left foot comes down to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward, coming into your high plank, shoulders stacked over wrist, that core is engaged, belly buttons coming up towards spine. And then via low push-up, either on the knees or not, we'll come all the way down to the earth. Inhale, pushing up through cobra. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, pushing up through tabletop, bringing the knees wide, sitting right back on the heels. for your child's pose. Maybe start to focus on the breath again, really making this a moving meditation. All that really means is concentrating, that we're in the present, not wishing things to be different or not thinking about what we need to do after practice, but just training ourselves to be here right now in this body, in this environment. And you can come right back up through tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the hips back to your downward facing dog. And the right leg comes high, three-legged dog on the right. And then right foot steps forward, runner's lunge. You can take those blocks on either side of the right foot. And remember, if you don't have blocks, you can use toilet paper, paper towels, cans of food. We'll shimmy that left leg up, coming into our pyramid pose. So inhale to lengthen, exhale, hinging forward. So holding posture is a little bit longer in this practice, so that gives us a chance also to be in the pose, working on our flexibility. And so I know there's some yoga teachers that have always said, the pose doesn't really even begin until you want it to end. So we haven't started holding poses that long, but that's actually its own practice. And the left foot can come to meet the right, forward fold. This time you can drop the hips. We'll come into our Utkatasana chair pose. Feet rooted into the earth. They can be hips width or toes can be touching. Breathing here, keeping the chest open, feeling the connection the feet's making with the earth. And take one more inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. And then you can plant the hands. We'll step right back to our downward facing dog. And bring our right leg high. Right foot steps forward, back foot dials back. The feet rooted into the earth will rise up, warrior one. So that back foot's at about 45 degrees, hips squared forward. Really firing up that back foot to keep the hips squared, but also just feeling grounded and safe and connected. Breathing here. And bring your hands to heart center. We'll open up warrior two. So in warrior two, there's heel to instep alignment. Right knee is over ankle, and that knee is tracking to the upper right corner of the mat. Arms are parallel to the earth, and gaze is at the middle finger, your drishti. And so maybe come back to the breath, back to our equal breathing. And spend a few moments maybe counting. Counting the inhale, maybe it's a 3 or 4 count, and matching it to the exhale. And keeping the posture, keeping the gaze steady. Your next inhale, you can straighten the front leg, hands come high, gentle warrior. And then exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come back down. One more time, inhale, rise. And then exhale, coming right back down. And flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, coming into your side angle. So right forearm can connect with the right thigh. Maybe widen your stance a little bit. That back heel can kick back. Top hand can reach for the sky and maybe reach for the front of the room, keeping all of that length. And then if it feels okay, you can come behind for a fuller half bind. Chest can start corkscrewing to the sky, but you keep the breath. And keeping those warrior two legs, rise back up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior, and then straighten that front leg on track. I'll toe heel that back foot up a little bit. We'll set up for our Trikonasana, our triangle pose. Arms can come parallel. Try to touch the front of the room, and then right hand can connect with the shins, hips open towards the left. Breathing. Gaze can be at the wall. If it feels okay in your neck, you can rotate your head to look at your hand. And then core strength will bring you right back up. We'll pivot to the front of the mat. So come with those pyramid-like feet. And bring your hands to heart center. Maybe putting a little bit of a bend in that front knee. We're going to fly into our warrior three. So hips square to the earth. So we're making a big T with our body. We're still going to have a little bit of a bend so we don't lock our joints, but we have the muscles do the work. Breathing here. And then left foot can come meet the right. Hips drop down back into your chair pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine, shoulder blades come back. And you can plant your hands and step back to your high plank. And breathing here. And take an inhale, exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Left leg comes high, three-legged dog on the left. Left foot steps forward, back foot dials back, feet root into the earth, rise up, warrior one. You're taking a moment, again, feeling that connection to the earth. You can bring your hands to heart center. Open up, warrior two. Widen your stance, because the warrior two stance is a little bit longer than the warrior one. You check your heel to instep alignment. You guys stay where you are. I will change, so you don't have to look at the back of me. Arms are parallel, gaze straight ahead. And we'll just return to that equal part breathing again, keeping the eyes steady and focused. I know I say it all the time, but I'll say it again. This is just such a great practice, just for staying present. So I feel like too often, at least I know for me, I'm in a situation and I'm wondering what's next? What's next? What do I have to do later? Which when we do that, we basically are not living our life because we're never where we actually are. And that's so much a part of this practice. It's just being here. And your next inhale, straighten the leg, hands come high. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, coming back down. One more time, inhale, we rise. And then exhale, we come right back down. You can flip that front palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior, stretching out the left side of the body. And then exhale, left forearm, left thigh, side angle. So making any adjustments you need to get comfortable into your side angle. And deciding what you want to do with that top hand. But of course, remembering to keep that calm, steady breathing. And feeling the feet rooting you into the earth, which is giving you the power, the ability to open up your chest. So when we have a strong root, that gives us the opportunity to grow and to expand. And that's true for our yoga physical practice as well as just personal development or spiritual growth. Coming back up to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. You can straighten that front leg on track. Toe heel that back foot a little bit closer. And we'll set up for Trikonasana now. Arms come parallel, reach for the front of the mat. Left hand drops to the shin or block. And hips aren't exactly stacking, but opening up towards the right. Core strength brings you right back up. We'll pivot the hips back towards the front of the mat. You can bring your hands to heart center, adding a little bit of a bend to that front knee. And come into our warrior three. So hips square to the earth. It's like we're making a big T with our body. Remember to breathe. And find one spot on the earth to gaze at. And right foot can come to meet the left. Hips drop down. Utkatasana, chair pose. And take an inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. And bring your feet about hips width apart if they're not already. With your two peace fingers, you can grab on to your big toe. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. And then your exhale, see if you can straighten the legs, drop your head. And of course, if you can't grab your toes, you can just bring your hands anywhere towards the earth. And just breathing here in this forward fold. And you can release the toes, toe heel your feet together. I'm just going to head back to the front of my mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Holding here for a moment. And then dropping the knees, coming into your tabletop. We're going to take thread the needle here, so you can plant the right hand down into the earth, left arm opens wide. And you can thread the left arm goes right underneath the right shoulder, so you'll be resting the left side of your face onto the earth. That right hand can come to the upper right corner, or it could rock behind you. If you want to play with balance, you can lift that right leg, but you have some options. Or if you want a deeper stretch, kind of consider how it would feel to roll over on the back of your head. You're just taking it gently. And then right hand can connect back to the earth, lift yourself up. Left hand comes high, left hand comes back to the earth. And right hand comes high, and we'll take thread the needle now on the right. Left hand can come back to the earth, pressing yourself back up. Right hand comes high. Right hand can come back to the earth. So you can take a moment and you can come to a comfortable seat on your mat. So coming onto your bum. We'll extend the left leg long, sole of the right foot can come to the inner left thigh. Inhale to lengthen, and then you can just rotate your torso so it's in line with your left leg, or just fold over. And just breathing here. Maybe you grab your toes, or you just rest your hands on the earth. You can start to rise back up. You can plant your right hand behind you, lift the hips up, coming into a baby wild thing. Left hand reaches behind you. And then bringing hips back down to the earth. And take your left foot, plant it on the outside of the right knee. Take a moment, readjust hips, sit bones are even on the earth. That left hand can press down. Right hand comes high, and twist to the left. Right elbow can hook along left knee. You can just hug the knee. And breathing here. Coming back through center. And take your left knee and stack it right on top of the right. So this is our Gomukhasana, or cow face posture. Now they might not stack perfectly, and that's okay. Just make sure it doesn't hurt. So if they're not stacking, if you don't get them all the way down, that's okay. See if you can get your hips connected to the earth. And then this might be plenty of a stretch. Maybe you just grab your toes. Then if you want a little bit more, you can start to walk forward. And coming back up. You can unwrap your legs. This time right leg will go long, sole of the left foot to the inner thigh. Inhale, hands come high. And then on an exhale, we'll twist the torso. Fall right over that right leg. So just hinging at the hips. Still think of lengthening the spine. You can start to rise back up. And taking that right foot, plant it on the outside of the, put the right leg back. I always forget this. Left hand comes behind. Lift the hips, baby wild thing. And then coming back down to the earth. Now the right foot plants to the outside of the left knee. Making any adjustments to be sitting evenly on the earth. Left hand comes high and we twist to the right. Coming back through center. And stack that right knee on top of the left for our Gomakasa. And take a moment to inhale, get the spine nice and long. Maybe you just stay here, or if you want, you can start to come forward on your exhale. You can start to rise back up and bringing both feet out in front. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hinging forward. You can release your feet. You just plant the soles of the feet onto the earth. Maybe reach out in front of you with the spine long, and we'll slowly start to make our way down to the earth. You can take a block or maybe just place your hands underneath your hips, extending the feet up into the sky. If you're by a wall or a couch, you can also just rest your legs up the wall or couch, and that can feel really nice too. And you can just stay there for the rest of the practice. Your block, or if your hands are underneath your hips, you can remove that. Grab the inside edges of your feet. Come into our happy baby, rocking from side to side. You can give your knees a hug in. Bring your arms wide, anchoring you to the earth. You can drop the knees to the left as you gaze to the right. Don't worry if your knees don't connect to the earth. More important to try to keep the upper body intact. And then switching sides. Knees drop to the left as you gaze to the right. And coming back through center. Giving your knees a hug in, rocking a little bit side to side. And taking a moment to be grateful that you made the time for yourself. And focus on body, mind, and spirit. And you can release the legs long on the earth. And taking up some space. And we're going to bring the palms to face the sky. Or if you want something still a little bit more grounding, you bring your hands right to like your lower abdomen. And that can feel really nice too. Maybe do a moment, do a quick scan of the body. See if there's any area where you can release, let go a little more. Like I said, I always feel like I'm relaxed, and then I'll notice that I'm really clenching my hips or my back. See if you can loosen up a little more. We'll come into our final posture, Shavasana. can start to bring a little consciousness back, maybe wiggling the toes, the fingers. And when you're ready, you can start to roll over to the left or the right side. And we'll spend a few moments in the fetal position. And then start to make your way up to a comfortable seat. You can bring your hands to heart center. And keeping the eyes closed or gazing softly at your fingertips. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And may you live with ease. Namaste. Well, thank you for practicing today, and thank you for doing a little bit of a slower flow than we normally do, but it seemed like a good opportunity to kind of work in alignment with nature right now, rather than against it, because I don't think we would win that one. But thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.